So if I'm asked to put these in order from smallest to greatest, 2 divided by 3 looks like this. 2 divided by 3. That's a division problem that we solve.
Oh, I did
Okay?
the simple version.
The simple version, this doesn't help you at all.
No, I was referring to the minus sign 2 dot symbol.
Okay, so we can put a period or a decimal place, not a period, a decimal place. Okay, 3 goes into 2. Does that go at all?
No.
So this becomes 0. Okay, and so then you bring your 0 down, and I get 20. How many times does 3 go into 20? 6 times. So I'm going to put my decimal point up there. 6 times, so that makes 18. 3 goes into 20 how many times? Okay, so do you see the pattern of what's happening here? What's going to happen each time? It's going to be 0.666666 or 0.67. Okay? So we know that this first one is negative 0.67. Let's do the same thing, or 4 divided by 5. Okay, so you can erase that on your board.
Do you only put 2 zeros after
You can put more, but it's just going to be a longer division problem that you have to deal with. 4 divided by 5. The number that goes on top, which is your numerator, goes inside the divisor sign. Okay, 4 divided by 5. You need to take it out to 2 decimals at least. 5 does not go into 4, so that first one is 0. And then I have 40. And 5 goes into 40 8 times. 40 minus 0, 0. So 4/5 is the decimal 0.80. So negative 0.80. If we're looking at our answer options, we know we have both positive and negative 2/3 and positive negative 4/5. So if I'm thinking about this, what's the smallest decimal actually?
Negative 0.80.
Okay, so negative 0.80 is the smallest decimal. Then what?
Negative 0.67.
Okay.
And
Then someone besides Crystal, what goes next? 0.67 or 0.80, the positives? 0.67 positive, right? And then 0.80. So I know that that's the order that I'm looking for, right? So that means I'm starting with negative 4/5, negative 2/3, positive 2/3, and negative 4/5. Does that make sense how we did that?
positive 4/5.
Oh, sorry, positive 4/5. Whew, yeah. So which answer choice, look up there, which answer choice are you going to choose? The one that matches is B. Okay? So when you have an issue where you have fractions, you're not just going to freeze up. You're going to do some decimal division, which is fine. You can handle that. All right. So we're going to choose B, and then we go on. Of the following numbers, which is the greatest? Which of these is the greatest? Now again, what do we have here? We have division or we have fractions. This one's already there for us. We know that 1 divided by 10, really, let's go ahead and do that if you need to. 1 divided by 10. You should be doing this with me, not just staring at the board. 1 divided by 10. Okay, so it goes 0 times here, right? Actually, we can't even go out that far. We have to go out to the 10, right? It goes 1 time. Gives me 10, 0, 0, 0. So 1 over 10 is the same thing as 0.110. I'm sorry, 0.10 or 0.10. Okay, what about this one? Do you guys know the rule about moving the decimal point?
Yeah.
Okay, how many zeros were here? Just 1, right? So if I take the number 1 and I move the decimal point to the left, one spot because there's only 1 0. This is 0.1, which is what we got when we divided. How many zeros are in this one? 2. So if I have 13, here's my decimal. I'm going to move it to the left how many places? 2, because there were 2 zeros. 1, 2. So this is 0.13. So on your board, you should have 0.10, 0.12, 0.13. And then this one, 1.1, how many zeros do I have? So I'm going to move it to the left how many places? Just 1, which gives me 0.11.
Now, do we ever move to the right?
Only if you're making the number larger, if you're multiplying by it, okay? And so what did the directions say? Did anyone see the directions?
The largest number.
What's the largest? Are you sure?
I believe it said that largest number.
Which of the following is the greatest?
Greatest,
Okay.
largest. I want
So which of the following is the greatest?
I want to say 1/10.
0.10, 0.12, 0.13.
I want to say 1/10.
Okay. Think about it in your grade percentages. This is 10%. This is 12%. This was 13%, or this was 11%. Which grade would you rather have? Or money. Which more money would you rather have? 13 cents. Okay. Okay, so, oops, I hit the wrong one. All right, now, they're not all going to be like that. In fact, we're going to answer this one as just a guess and go on, because I want to show you a couple other ones. All right, this is a problem you can handle. Let me minus it out a little. Which of the following is the graph of 2 greater than or equal to x plus 5? So on your board, you should be writing 2 greater than or equal to x plus 5, and you should be solving it out. Not worried about graphing yet. You should just be writing the problem down on your board, solving it out for x. You solve for x. So you're moving things off of x. Okay, once you have your answer, draw what you think your graph should look like. Not based on what that says, but you draw a graph on your board based on what you think it should look like.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the one where we have to rewrite it if it changes?
If you want to, yes. But notice that the small end is pointing here, so when you put x over here, the small end is still going to point to the x.
Right.
So we subtract 5, and I get negative 3 is greater than or equal to x. If I'm going to graph this, I know that first of all, is my circle open or closed? Closed. And if you look at each of these answer options, they're all closed. Okay, so that doesn't help us narrow it out. But look at answer A is at negative 3. Answer B is at negative 3. Answer C and D are both at what?
3.
Positive 3, right? So automatically, I can cancel out C and D. I know those are not options. The ACCUPLACER, all the questions are multiple choice. Okay? So we can cancel C and D out. Now, this says, someone read this to me from the X. X is what?
X is less than.
Less than, or you can't say less than or greater. Those are opposite things. Okay. X is less than or equal to negative 3. So the way that is less than negative 3 is this direction. So your graph should be pointing to the left. Those are the numbers that are less than. If you shaded the other way, that means you did not interpret this correctly. If you rewrote it and you put this, these are not the same thing. You don't flip the sign.
I'm saying they just rewrite it.
You rewrite it. Do you see how the little end is pointing to the x? So if you're going to put x first, the little end needs to be pointing to the x. That's being consistent. Okay? So letter B is our option. Who picked letter B or had your graph matching? Okay. Okay, which of the following is equivalent to the inequality above? So they've given you an inequality. I want you to write this on your board. 8 minus 2x. It's fine. I know. If you listen, you can write it. 8 minus 2x is greater than 2x minus 8. 8 minus 2x is greater than 2x minus 8.
Is it possible for them to 0 here?
Are you thinking in your head or are you actually doing it out? So you should have x is less than 4. This is a negative 16. This is a negative 4, negative 4.
I was considering that as you said it.
Okay, x is less than 4. First of all, the only one that has positive 4 as an answer is D, right? But if A was also 4, you would have to be careful between the two of them. All right? So x is less than 4. Notice the small end is pointing to the x. The small end is pointing to the x. So D is our answer. How many of you got that one right?
I don't know what I did.
Okay, that 8 is already positive. Go over to the other side. When you yep, you should have subtracted it. Okay, so D is our answer. All right, next question. This is a great one. 3x plus 2y equals 20. If x is 3 in the equation above, what is the value of y? Do not do these in your head. Just like on the ECA, if you do something in your head and you miss a sign, that could be the difference between $700 of a free class and not. Your x plus 2y equals 20. And x is 3. What is the value of y? So we're plugging in 3 for our x, right? Is that what you guys are doing? So we get 9 plus 2y equals 20. 2y equals 11. Y equals 11 over 2. Is that an answer option?
No.
Okay.
Now we're at the
So 2 goes into 11 how many times? 5 times. Did you use a calculator? Because you're not allowed to on the ACCUPLACER, so put that away. Okay, 2 goes into 11 5 times, which is 10. How many is remaining? 1. So this is 5 whole times, 1 half. The remainder goes over your denominator. So 1 over 2, which is answer choice B. Raise your hand if you at least got 11 over 2. Okay? And then being able to translate your answer into a fraction. Okay? They're not all okay, I will tell you this. The ACCUPLACER has multiple versions. There's like 6 or 7 different versions. So you could get the version that's next to your neighbor, okay, which doesn't happen often. Some of them are easier than others also. Okay, so we have to be ready for whatever it's going to give us. R squared minus 5, all squared. You should know how to do this now. R squared minus 5, all squared.
I'm still going to keep going.
Okay, what does this 2 mean?
It's that twice.
You have to write it twice. So this really means r squared minus 5 times r squared minus 5. I saw several of you just do this to make r to the 4th plus 25, which, if you notice, is an answer choice. But it's the wrong answer choice. So this is incorrect, absolutely incorrect. When you have r squared minus 5 and r squared minus 5, what do you have to do with this? Distribute it, FOIL it, whatever, right? So r squared times r squared makes r to the 4th. R squared minus 5 minus 5r squared. 5 times r squared. And then negative times a negative is a...
Positive.
Are these two going to cancel each other out?
No.
Negative 5 and negative 5 make
Negative
negative 10.
10 r squared.
So r to the 4th minus 10r squared plus 25. That should be the correct answer.
You scared me when you walked by.
Yeah, I actually had trouble with this at first, Mrs. Carolyn,
And then she set you straight. She's good about that. Okay, next question. See, guys, these are not like ridiculously hard questions. We just have to use our thinkers. And again, as my father once said, there is no law against using your thinker. So, here we go. For which of the following equations are x equal to 3 and x equal to negative 3 both solutions? So,
oh, wonderful.
there are a couple ways we can do this. A test-taking strategy is when you have no idea how to do the problem. You can plug in the answer choices they gave you, right? They gave you 3 and negative 3 for x. You can plug those in here. ACCUPLACER is not timed, right? So you could plug 3 and negative 3 in for your x and see what happens. Okay, so let's pick B because that might be an easier one to plug in for. So what is 3 squared? If I plugged in a positive 3, what's 3 squared plus 9? 9 plus 9, which is...
18.
Okay, it doesn't work here, does it? What's the other easier one that might be good to plug into? D, right? Because I'm only plugging it in one place. Okay? So what is 3 squared minus 9?
That actually does equal
That
0.
0. Okay, so the x equals 3 works, but we also have to check x equals negative 3. So what about negative 3 squared minus 9?
No, that doesn't work.
It's going to be 0.
What is negative 3 times negative 3?
Oh, right. That's a positive 9.
So it gives me 0 here. So D works, but guys, what can you be doing with these except for letter B? It's a word that starts with an F. You can factor these. We have learned for 3 weeks how to factor. You think it's going to go away, but it's not.
Hey, that first one, though, you can, well, technically both of them, you can jump to, you could do your X factor, you know?
Yep, and you could find out negative 3. But guys, what do you notice about x squared minus 9? Isn't that a difference of squares? X plus 3, x minus 3. And when you set each of them equal to 0, what happens?
You get a negative 3 and a positive.
You get a positive 3 and a negative 3. So you can either choose to factor these, or you can plug in. Okay? And again, the ACCUPLACER is not timed, so you can take as little or as long as you want on that. Again, could be the difference between $600 and not having to take a math class. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, here you go. Please don't make the same mistake. 3x minus 2y all squared.
All right, I got this.
Yeah. Think about what you did last time and don't do that same thing. Well, some of you don't do the same thing.
Yeah, that thing you did last time.
Um,
3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6xy minus 6xy plus 4y squared. Negative 6 and negative 6xy both make negative 12xy plus 4y squared. Which answer is that? D.
does it matter how you wrote them?
If you what?
I don't know if I wrote them in the right order.
It's fine. You just have to be able to match your answer. Okay?
I goofed up.
I did it wrong.
Difference between $600 and no math class.
Oh, I'm actually.
Okay, this is a good one. For x greater than 0, 2x plus the square root of 4x squared plus the cube root of 8x cubed.
Isn't it a comma?
Seems like a lot of information. So let's talk about this because it's not as scary as it seems. This x greater than 0 just means they have to say this because if x was less than 0, let's say x was like negative 2, what's over here, it's going to give you a negative underneath the square root. And we talked about we can't have negative underneath the square root, right? So this x greater than 0 is just, they have to tell you that so you're not like, oh, could it be a negative? Okay, so once we talk about that, then we're going to get rid of that. Okay, so let's write this on our boards. 2x
Actually, I already know how this works.
plus the square root of 4x squared plus the cube root of 8x cubed.
So is that why that comma's there?
Yes. Yeah, it's like telling you, hey, this is the condition. Okay, now let me give you the problem. Okay, now 2x, nothing we can do there, right? What is the square root of 4? And what's the square root of x squared? So this really is what? This is not 2x squared. This is really just 2x right here, right? We'll go ahead and bring this 2x down in the beginning because we didn't change that one. What about this one? Let's talk about this. What is the cube root of x cubed? It's just x, right? Just like the square root of x squared was just x. What's the cube root of x cubed? Just x. That means x times x times x makes x cubed. Okay? Then, we haven't talked about this yet, but what is the cube root of 8? That means what number times itself 3 times makes 8? 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 again is 8. So this reduces to just 2x. Can you simplify this? What's 2x plus 2x plus 2x? Is it 6x or is it 6x cubed?
6x. X, 6x because it's not multiplication, it's addition equal.
When you are combining like terms, adding and subtracting, you do not change your exponents. When you're multiplying or dividing, that's when you change your exponents. So this is just 6x, period. So a problem that looked pretty intimidating that we haven't seen before.
We just saw.
Okay?
Easy peasy.
Not a huge deal if you try to think through it. And I cannot prepare you for every single type of question on the ACCUPLACER, but what I'm asking you to do is to try each one, okay? Ben, are you with me or are you asleep? Okay. All right, this is a great question. You will have many, you may or may not have any like this.
Oh.
All right. Write this down. X over y. So again, they're telling you, hey, y can't be 0, because if it was 0 in the denominator, that's an issue, right? Write this on your board. X over y plus 3x over y minus x over 3y. Now, we don't really need to deal with this part right here, okay? So these are all fractions, and what do you have to do to be able to add fractions together? What do you have to add fractions together? What did you say? A common denominator, right? What's the common denominator between y, and 3y? They all have a y, but they all have to have the exact same thing. So what are the other two fractions missing? They're missing a 3, right? So in order to get them to be the same, we're going to multiply by 3 over 3 and 3 over 3. Because then they'll all have 3y. Would you agree with that? We don't need to change that last one because it already has a 3y. So the first term, 3 times x, is just going to give me 3x over 3y plus 9x over 3y minus x over 3y. We didn't have to change that one, right? Because it already had a 3y in the bottom, right?
Now we
Okay.
just add across.
Now you just add across. Are you going to add 3y plus 3y plus 3y? When you have like denominators, the denominator doesn't change. It's just going to be 3y in the denominator. 3 plus 9 is 12x. 12x minus x is 11x. Can this be reduced at all? Can we reduce 11 over 3 at all? No. Okay, so 11x over 3y is going to be my answer. So let's see which one that matches with. 11x over 3y looks like C to me.
Yeah, but using y over 1 should have worked just as well.
Nope, y over 1,
All the y's.
if you're multiplying by it.
But your y is your common denominator.
I did y over 1.
Just look at it.
But y over 1 is not the same thing. Y over 1 is... All right, look at number 12. There are no directions on number 12. But if you look at the answer choices, what does it look like they have done? They've pulled out the what? The GCF. Okay? So they've pulled out the greatest common factor. Now again, you can do that here, or can't you take your answer choices if you wanted to and multiply it here, 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 and here? That's going to take a long time to see which one matches up, right? If you're going to distribute and see which one of these is the same. So instead, let's pull out the greatest common factor. So write the problem down, please, on your board. And then I'd like you to take a minute at your board quietly to reduce this, simplify this, factor this. The biggest coefficient is 2. So that automatically knocks out which two answer choices? B and D, right? Because they pulled out a 4. So we're going to divide out a 2. How many R's can I give up? Just 1. What about T's? Just 1. Do I really need to keep going? I can if I want to double check, but it matches with A. Raise your hand if you got that one right. A.
I was on my way to getting it right, but you kind of stopped me, so you don't have to do the rest.
Okay, here you go. There are story problems on the ACCUPLACER. Okay, you're not going to get away from them. It says a repair person charges $35 for a service call plus $45 for each hour of work. Which of the following expresses the cost in dollars for a service call that takes H hours? So they're just telling you to use H as the variable. So don't look at your answer choices. Instead, $35 an hour plus, $35 period plus $45 per hour. How would you write that as an expression?
35 plus.
I didn't, hang on. Rhetorical questions mean don't answer them. So $35 is going to happen no matter what, right? Are we multiplying $35 times the hour? No, so that eliminates option A, because it's not $35 per hour. In letter B, 35 stands alone. What about C and D? We're adding the hours to $35? Does that make sense? To add like 8 hours plus $35? Does that make sense? Okay, so I would say C and D are out. In B, $35 no matter what, plus $45 per hour. That one makes sense, right? So this answer would be B.
Oh, we didn't have to solve. We just had
That's why.
to-
Did you see any of those were solved out?
I didn't look. You told me not to look.
Well, the other way you can do it says which following expresses, so it's an expression.
Oh. You didn't have to solve it.
There's nothing to solve because there's no equal sign in the problem, guys.
Yeah, I noticed. I'm like, wait, there's no equals. There's like
Okay, shh. We got 2 left. We got to keep going. An aquarium has a length of n squared plus 2 inches, a height of n plus 5 inches, and a width of 10 inches. What is the volume of the aquarium in terms of n? So, Brooklyn, you were doing so great drawing cubes there that I saw. Everyone draw a cube on your board. Now, if you don't know how to draw a cube, I'll show you. Draw a rectangle. Draw another rectangle, kind of offset. Okay, so we've drawn 2 rectangles. Then we're going to connect. So you're drawing 2 rectangles. All right. It says it has a length of n plus 2 inches. So my length is n squared plus 2 inches. My height is n plus 5. And the width, so that would be this part right here, is 10. What is the volume in cubic inches?
Isn't that asking?
How do you find the volume of a rectangle or a box, or a volume of anything squarish? Anybody know?
Something squared, really.
Not squared.
Times width.
Length times width
Times height.
times height, right? Length times width times height. They're not going to give you the formula. Volume is just 3 dimensions. So we know area is length times width. So when they throw in the height, we just do length times width times height. So I have n squared plus 2 times n plus 5 times 10. You should be able to multiply these together on your own. You're going to use 2 at a time, so I would maybe use these 2 parentheses first. Figure out what that is, and then you're going to multiply a 10 through the whole thing. Take a few minutes and do that, please. So look what I drew a line under. Multiply those 2 first, and then you're going to multiply the 10. Is this one dead?
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Did you do it already? Did you distribute, or did you just do first and last?
I thought,
This should be n squared. Look, which is going to change your answer. So I have n cubed plus 5n squared plus 2n plus 10. And then I have a 10 on the outside.
Write down that.
10n cubed plus 50n squared plus 20n plus 100. Is that an answer option?
Mm-hmm.
C. Everyone okay with that?
I was,
The floor of a room is shaped like a what?
Square.
So what should you draw?
A square.
Okay. Floor of a room is shaped like a square with sides of length 2s minus 2. Now I know you haven't had geometry yet, but what do you know about all the sides of a square? John, you have had geometry.
No, I'm sorry, I'm going to put my hand back down.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, John. Enlighten us.
Okay, all the sides of the square are equal.
They're all the same, right? So if one side is 2s minus 10, then the other side is 2s minus 10. All four sides are the same. 2s minus 2, I'm sorry, not 10. 2s minus 2. Okay, then it says, what is the area in square feet in terms of s? What is the area of a rectangle or a square? It's the same. Don't think too hard. What's the area of a square or a rectangle?
All the sides together.
That's the perimeter. Length times width. There's two things. There's two dimensions. You have length and you have width. So you're going to do length times width. And in this square, it's the same. So you just need to take two of the sides, 2s minus 2 times 2s minus 2. Multiply those out. Did I say 10 again? Rough one today. Let me see your answer choice when you get it on your board. A, B, C, or D. Great. Erase and put your board up, please. A, B, C, or D? Good. Erase and put your board up. Erase and try it again. Good. Great. Great. Try again. A, B, C, or D? Try again. Good.
Did you see mine?
Good, Crystal. Put it away. You have no work to show.
I know, I didn't.
Don't do it in your head because you get the wrong answer in your head. Go put your board up.
I didn't even mean to put C down. Are you sure you're
Try
taking
again.
you took geometry?
Yours is right now. Okay, don't erase the whole thing. You did 4s here, right? 4s squared, and then you did here times that is negative 4s, and then here times here is also another negative 4s, right? And then what's a negative times a negative? So then you have plus 4 still. A, B, C, or D? Quickly. Good. Erase and put back. Yeah. No, they all came from there except for like 2s. Just put them all in there.
It took me a minute.
Answer choice A is the correct one. Answer choice A is the correct one. Okay?